For more on this, we're going to be talking to Julia Manchester, national political reporter for The Hill. Thank you, Julia, for being with us as always. You know, former President Trump has been hyping up this big announcement for next week. Many believe it's his official word confirming a 2024 run for president. But is there word he might delay his announcement after the deflated red wave?
You know, I don't know if there's necessarily word he may delay his announcement, Adrienne. Instead, we have President Trump appearing to prepare to deflect a lot of this blame for the red wave. Look, for someone like Dr. Mehmet Oz, someone who President Trump endorsed in the primary, taking a big gamble there, that's a loss for President Trump. If Kari Lake loses in Arizona, that's a loss for President Trump. And especially if Lauren Boebert were to lose in Colorado, that's a loss for the former president as well, because this is essentially a rejection of that America First brand, or at least a rejection of President Trump's theories on election denialism and such. So that's a big issue for him. So I imagine he'll be laying the blame elsewhere and very much trying to deflect.
Yeah, and thinking about whether or not he made the right moves in backing some of these candidates, though I think he might believe that he set them up for success. It was up to them to carry the ball. Let's talk about Florida Republican Governor Ron DeSantis, of course, making a major win, defeating Charlie Crist as governor. Let's take a look at part of our exclusive interview. We talked to former President Trump about DeSantis. Listen.
Nobody thought he could beat after I got him the nomination. He didn't get it. I got it, because the minute I made that endorsement, he got it. He won. And I thought that he could have been more gracious, but that's up to him.
And again, he's talking about his first election to office as governor. But what makes DeSantis so different from someone like a Dr. Oz or a Doug Mastriano? They both lost their races in Pennsylvania for the Senate, particularly in not Dr. Oz's case. But what makes DeSantis stand out as one of the GOP's stars?
Well, I think part of it has to do is that DeSantis is seen as the future of the GOP. He is younger, he is a fresher face, and he's also coming from a state that was already leaning red. Look, it was a foregone conclusion that DeSantis would likely beat Charlie Crist in Florida.
Absolutely.
We know that DeSantis was obviously riding a wave of momentum going into this election, but Adrienne, it's the 2020 pandemic and Ron DeSantis' handling of that has him gaining that momentum. It might have been seen as a risk at the time, but Floridians say that, you know, the economy in Florida compared to states like New York or California fared pretty well during the pandemic. And, you know, Ron DeSantis, a lot of people praise him for that. And he's been able to build that momentum. Ron DeSantis is seen as a Republican who has some of Trump's attributes, maybe telling it like it is, being gruff, starting this back and forth with the media, and his words, standing up to the political establishment. However, at the same time, though, he doesn't have that same political baggage that Donald Trump has. Donald Trump had a very tumultuous 4 years in the White House. He has a host of legal issues. Ron DeSantis doesn't have that. Now, Ron DeSantis, I'm sure Donald Trump and other potential rivals could dig up baggage on him. However, he is seen as a much fresher face, someone that is seen as a future of the future of the GOP. And I thought it was fascinating, Adrienne. Yesterday, the chair of the Texas Republican Party essentially said that Ron DeSantis, his strategy is what Republicans need to be looking forward to for the future. So that was very notable.
But near future or a distant future? Do you think that he will, and what are you hearing from insiders? Do you think he's going to be vying for a presidential candidacy? I mean, in 2024, that seems so soon for someone so fresh-faced.
Yeah, it certainly does seem very soon. However, from every indication we've received from Ron DeSantis, he is very much building this national apparatus. He is campaigning for other candidates. He was up in New York, for example, campaigning with Lee Zeldin. He's been fundraising in states like Utah. He's been building this apparatus of national donors and operatives and very much trying to build that national brand. Watching this gubernatorial race, Adrienne, and watching DeSantis's campaign, it really didn't seem only like a statewide Florida campaign. It sort of seemed like there was a national element to it as well. And, you know, we talk about someone who, you know, being too soon and running for 2024. I'm sort of reminded by Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin as well. He was also up in New York campaigning for Lee Zeldin. He's also building this apparatus of donors and operatives. So I got to say, this kind of appears to be the year of the Republican governor.
All right, Julia Manchester, you heard it here first. Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.